So this is a very exciting video to make, and if you are interested in what we are about to discuss in this video, please do go to this website and fill out the contact form, and I can be in touch and take you on the journey that we took this house on of installing a heat pump. That is right, DMH Electrical and Renewables has acquired its MCS accreditation for installing heat pumps. We have partnered with Beal Heating Services and we have achieved MCS accreditation for installing heat pumps. What does that mean for DMH? It means we can install solar PV, battery storage, EV chargers and air source heat pumps. So we can take your house and fully decarbonise it all within a single contractor. How exciting! And this is the first house that we completed that job on, and I'm going to take you through the journey. However, before we go and look at the house and the heat pump, we need to go back to the office and look at some paperwork back there and explain what you get in your heating design, how heating design works for low temperature heating, and what you get in your proposal. So I'll see you in the office. So here we are then back in the office, and we have the heat loss report for the property that we have just been stood in front of. And what this runs through in the 19-page document that it is the results of the heat loss report, obviously, as well as room features such as size, windows, doors, wall cavity insulation types, roof insulation types and depths, and basically build out a picture of what we need at a given outside temperature is a heat demand inside the property to remain at 21 degrees. So we'll have a quick look at this of a screen record, and then we will get back and look at the juicy stuff at the house for the property, and it gives us all of the appendix for what we are looking at, such as room features, dimensions, external and internal party walls, windows and doors, including their sizes, and then insulation values for the walls, windows, loft insulation and cavity wall insulation. We then get down to the most important bits, which sort of towards the end of the report, which is our proposed emitters upgrade or upgraded radiators that we need to look at. And then here, so this is some of the design characteristics for the pump. So we're designing for when the temperature externally is 3.97, which has landed us with a total heat requirement for the building of 3.95 kilowatts to maintain our design temperature of 20 degrees internally. And what that lands us on is a Valence Aerotherm Plus 3.5 kilowatt pump. We like the Valence. That is what I have personally on my own house, as well as also Andy having a Valence on his house, and also he has fitted many Valence Aerotherms with HeatGeek, so we are using them. We then look at our worst performing room, which in this property is the kitchen, and that is essentially down to big bifolding doors, and then not supplying the U value that an insulated cavity wall would. So that is why the kitchen in this property is the worst performing room. We then start to look through a lot of tables such as room features, and feel free to pause the video at any time, that takes into our design temperature, ground temperature and where we are in the building, number of rooms and the total area of said house. Then we've got the room dimensions, external party walls, internal windows and doors, and what they all are. Obviously, being a new build house, they are all to current building regs for 21 and 2024. And then our review of the heat loss. So we can see here, our worst performing room is the kitchen. As we come further down, we get to the most important part of the report really, which is somewhere down here. So air source heat pump summary. So this then gets us to basically the most important part of what we would look at in a heat loss report from the customer, and that is our heat demand on the building and our expected SCOP or seasonal coefficient of performance for our heat pump, and what our heat pump is expected to use through the year, which is this figure here. Electricity consumed by heat pump excluding auxiliary heating immersion heater elements. So it is expected to consume 3,273.54 kilowatt hours per annum for space heating. Now, if you are teaming that up with solar PV and battery storage, and you were buying your heating at 7p, you can then expect to pay roughly £229 for your heating a year. That is if you have enough battery storage and a cheap overnight tariff. So you can start to see the savings that come with heat pumps. This heat pump has no auxiliary heaters into it, so there is nothing consumed by auxiliary heaters or elements. We are purely relying on the pump, which will in turn at 3 give us this figure as our value per year. We can then start to look down to what we require for water heating. So 4 bedrooms, 1 person in each bedroom, a required domestic hot water temperature of 55. It's actually set lower than that in the property. We can discuss reasons as to why at a later date, but we look that we need to electricity consumed, again, this is the important bit, by the heat pump of 1,586 kilowatt hours a year. Now again, if you buy that 1,586 at 7p, you can expect to pay roughly £111 per year for your hot water. So really quite handy. Well, now we've looked at that heat report and we've seen what size radiators we needed. This is one of the 9 radiators in the house that needed upgrading. And does it look big? And does it look stupid? No, this radiator is 500mm by 1.2. It's double panel, double convector. And stuff like that is why we do proper heat loss reports. Because if we get the report right, we don't have to oversize radiators. We can make the radiator the right size for the room. Which is why we send Andy out to every job and he does a full heat loss report, taking into account the fabric of the building, the fabric of the walls, the insulation values, as well as the window sizes and the U values of the windows. And that way, we get the right size radiator in the right room. This one's also being upgraded in the hallway. Again, it's not massive, is it? Or this one in the kitchen, it's not massive, is it? Or even this one in the bedroom, which is used in this house as a home office. I think the point I'm trying to make is, if we take the design and get it correct and do our heat loss correctly, then the radiators, they're not really any bigger than normal. This is a brand new build and most of the radiators have had to go from single panels to double panels. So they're about 2 inches deeper. If a company is doing its heat loss calcs correctly and it's designed correctly, then radiators don't need to be massive. And that is the point that I'm trying to make. And then we are on to the more regular plumbing things. So this house is a 4-bedroom property with currently 2 people living in it, but it does have the potential for 4 people living in it. It has a bath, it has a shower, and 45 litres per head in the household brings us to a 250 litre cylinder. It is a Tempest heat pump cylinder, so what that means is the coil inside is twice as long, giving us the surface area to heat the cylinder with a heat pump and lower flow temperatures. But this is very much a standard plumbing item. So this is something that is much more my territory, the electrical side of the heat pump, where we have a heat pump controller, a fuse spur to isolate said controller, the wireless controls for the weather compensation stat, and the gateway to allows the system to get online, so the app works. This is kind of the main brains of the system. However, for you, the customer, there isn't very much here for you to look at other than the working figures for the heat pump or our COP and SCOP. But we'll probably discuss more of what you can see as a customer on the in-room controller that lives inside the house. And then this is what we have in the house. And what this is the Valand Senso Comfort controller. And we get loads of information on these. This is the wireless version, and this is what talks to our connection box that we've just seen in the garage. However, on here it gives us information such as our current room temperature, the time, the air humidity, the outdoor temperature, which is really important, as well as the current room desired temperature, which in this case is 21, with a current room temperature of 23. We've got quite a bit of solar gain in this room currently, so the room temperature is slightly above our desired. But on here we can set stuff like our time of day programs, when we go into setback, our heat curves, and all of the such that we would normally set on a room stat. And then this is the important bit. This is the working end of the entire system. The heat pump itself, and in this case, as we have already discussed in our design stage when we were just back in the office, it is a Vaillant 3.5 kilowatt heat pump. 16 amp supply electrically, but able to deliver 3.5 kilowatts of heat energy into the house. It's currently running. Can you hear it? Because I certainly can't. But these sit on anti-vibration feet, which under the gravel here are on concrete pads. There's a soakaway underneath here. We handle all of that in-house. We come and we put the concrete pads in. We can put the soakaway in, or these can actually also be wall mounted at a height if they need to be. Well, I hope that gives you a bit more confidence in what you can expect from a DMH electrical and renewables heat pump install. But I've now got the customer beside me, and it is our very own Jason.
Hi everyone.
What do you make of a air source heat pump now you've had one for 6 weeks?
I actually think it's fantastic. Once I'd got over the initial couple of weeks of trying to fiddle with every setting and trying to make it work and do what I was used to with a gas boiler, but eventually when you sort of settle into it and you just let it do its thing, you set your parameters, you let it settle in, you let it heat the fabric of the building up, it's brilliant. The house is permanently between 20.8 and 21.8 all day long. It cools down to a nice 19 degrees at night. Time you get back up in the morning, it's back up to 20 plus, and it's just effortless. It's silent. I had a big worry because our heat pump placement is on the side of the house, which is directly behind where our heads would be, sat in the living room watching TV. And actually, even when it's on a defrost cycle, which it did within a couple of days, because it was ultra cold, it was silent and you couldn't hear a single thing. Our bedroom's directly above the living room, and even on the night time you can't hear anything at all. My fears were quickly put to bed, and yeah, overall I think it's brilliant, and coupled with solar panels, the energy savings are just massive.
Well, there you go. I reckon that is a happy customer and really does drill home the fact that the design of the pump is equally as important as the fitting of the pump. But hopefully we can see some more heat pump installs from DMH, and I can get some more footage regarding the actual installation progress and show you how they go together, and some bits of Andy on camera as well as. But until then, and the next vlog where we will be back on a roof, I will see you in the next one. As always, do like, comment and subscribe, and if you would like a heat pump, solar panel installation or even battery storage, do visit the website in the description below and fill out that contact form, and I will reach out and be in touch with you. See you later, guys.